Hello everyone, this is the IFC Architect speaking, and today we are doing a multi-story building with BlenderBim. So we're going to be doing a 3-story building, and we're going to be tracing a set of existing plans. Okay, let's get into it. To install BlenderBim or Blender, check the installation videos in the description. Please update your BlenderBim to the latest build I'm using, found on my channel about page. My layout very simply has the properties on the right hand side and the outliner on the left hand side. Please make sure that you've got your snaps enabled, which just allow you to easily model things and move them around, and make sure that your move gizmo, this little object here, is selected. Control Z, Control Z. You can follow what I'm doing, the screencast keys in the bottom left. Okay, cool, let's get started. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you have the import images as planes add-on enabled. So we're just going to go to edit, preferences. We're going to go to add-ons, and then here you're just going to type in image. And it's a default add-on that comes with Blender, so you don't have to download it. Just make sure it's ticked like it is here, and then press X. Okay, then we're just going to go into plan view, and you're going to drag and drop this plan, which is available below, into your view. So I'm just going to press 7 again, and we're just going to bring it closer. So you can see it's a 3-story building. I got this from a YouTuber called Life Where I'm From. He was doing a tour of a typical Japanese home. Thought that would be quite nice because it's very compact, it's very small, but it's also very complicated in its details. But it seems very straightforward, and I thought this would be a good example. Okay, so after you've drag and dropped it, the next thing you do is you need to click it, you right click, and you say trace image to grease pencil, and then you want to change the scale to 0.98. Just for this one, I don't know if that's applicable for all. So we say okay. And then you can see we have a grease pencil object, which is basically an SVG traced of that thing. This is just so that we can use this as a scale bar. Essentially, I'm going to use the inside of the parking spot as a reference, and I'm going to make that 5 meters and draw the building from there. You can also see that it's scanned slightly skew, so we're just going to build the first floor and then build up from there, the ground floor. Alright, so we're just going to take the grease pencil object, and we're going to line up the corner. I'm going to press G, and we're going to line up the corner with the 3D cursor, and then we're going to right click, and we're going to say set origin to 3D cursor. Cool. And now that we've done that, we can come here to our scene properties, our IFC project info, IFC project. Make sure you have all of these selected if you want to follow along, all of these, including your IFC4 demo library over here. And then just say create project. And then you can see it's created an IFC4 library. So we just make sure we're on the right floor. And then we're going to press N. We're going to go to Tool. We're going to click BIM Tool. And we're going to select the wall type. We're going to make all the walls wall 100, even though in reality I'm not sure if that's the case. For the purposes of this video, it definitely works. So I'm going to make sure I want a length of 5,000. And then I'm just going to say Shift A, and it's going to add a wall, and you can see our scale is slightly off, so I'm going to say Shift R, 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 so it's in the right direction. And then I'm going to take this grease pencil object, and I'm going to scale it until we have it lining up with the inside. So I'm going to say it's about 3.6. Okay, cool. And then I'm just going to create a copy of this plan, and I'm going to scale that to 3.6 because it's the one I actually want to use as reference. And I'm going to line this up roughly with the grease pencil object so that you can see it's there. And then I'm just going to hide my grease pencil object. And then I'm going to continue tracing, and don't worry if it's slightly off. I'm just making them as close to a reasonable number as possible. So we're going to continue tracing all of these walls, and I'm just going to use 100, and I'm going to say Shift A, Shift R, 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 and I think that's going to be about 2,123 millimeters. That's 2 meters. And then we're going to say Shift A, Shift R, 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 and I'm going to make that 200. And then we're going to say Shift F, and then we're going to say Shift A. I'm going to make that 2,000. Ah, these are in the wrong thing. There we go, there we go, there we go. Just say GX there. And then I'm going to say Shift A, Shift R. I'm going to make this 3,000. And then I'm going to say Shift A, Shift R, R. I'm going to make this 7,200. And then we say Shift F to flip it. Then we click off, we click on, and then we do this 900. We say Shift A. And then from here we say Shift A, Shift R, R, and then we can just snap it to that edge, Shift E. Say Shift A, We can say Shift A R R, can extend it to there and say Shift F to line it up. Shift A R R and extend it to there. Shift A E, Shift A, Shift F, Shift E, Shift A. I'm just going to line this up with the edge there and then bring this down a reasonable amount. So I think -1, 1, 2, 3 or 1, 100. Yeah, that works. And then I'm just going to line it up with this wall. Shift E. And then I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to say Shift D, which is duplicate. And then I'm going to press Y and bring it up in that direction. So I'm just going to say 1, 500. And Shift E to get it to the edge there. Grab this guy again. Shift D, Y. Bring it down. -2050. Shift D, Y. What is that? -1550. Shift D, Y. -1000. Okay, cool. And then this gap I'm going to make 1000, even though I know this is 900, just for simplicity. So I'm just going to take this guy and say Shift D, Y, say GY, and then GY, and then say -1000. And then we're going to click both of these and say Shift T to join them. And then we have all of our walls and everything sorted. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create a plan drawing. So we're going to come here to BIM documentation. We're going to drawings, plan, and I'm actually going to change the name of this over here. I'm going to change it from My Story to GroundFloor. Okay, and then plan, GroundFloor, and then we're going to press add documents, and then you can see GroundFloor. So you can see it's added a camera. We just need to click activate. And then we're just going to untick snaps for a second. We're going to go object data properties. We're going to change the orthographic scale from 50 to 10. And then I'm just going to take this guy and I'm going to say G and center it on my plan. So there we go. And now we're going to do our doors and windows. I'm actually going to just grab this one and move it out the way a little bit. We're going to do doors and windows. Okay, and for these big windows, I'm just going to do a single window. I'm not going to adjust it too much. And for these doors, even though some of them are different sizes, I'm going to use a single door as well. So these doors are actually quite small, so I'm going to use an 800 door that I'm going to load into the project. So I'm going to go to Scene Properties. We're going to go here to Project Setup, Project Library, and then you select the folder icon, select Library File, and then you can download it in the description, but I'm just going to navigate to where I have it. So you just need to get this IFC file, 800 door left swing, and then we're going to go here and we're going to click on the paperclip to load it into the file. We go to Tool, and we're going to go to Door Type, and there's our left swing. And then we're just going to remember to select the wall and also turn your snaps back on and say Shift A, and whichever direction the side of the door is, that's the direction of the swing basically. So I'm just going to Shift F, and then we're just going to continue. So I'm going to say Shift A, and that's good, and so GY and Shift G, and then there's a small door here, Shift A, and we say GY, Shift G, there's a door here, Shift A, GY, oh, GX, my bad, Shift G, and then here, Shift A, GX, Shift G, Shift A, GY, GY, just have it roughly in the middle, Shift G, and then there's a door here, Shift A. It's a sliding door, but we're just going to represent it with a Shift G with a swing door. Okay, cool. So most of these guys are in the right direction, and this guy I'm just going to say Shift F, and I think everybody else is good. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is windows. Go to window type, and then we're going to add a window wherever there is a wall window opening. So we say Shift A, and then I'm just going to line it up GY, GEX, Shift G, window there, Shift A, GY, Shift G, Shift A, GY, GY, Shift G, Shift A, GY to line it up there, Shift G, and then there's one in the toilet as well. Shift A, GY, GY, Shift G. Okay, cool. The next thing we want to do is add IFC finishing elements. So there's a really nice library that's now loaded with BlenderBim, which is Australian and international standards. And I will provide a download link in the description, but it does come with BlenderBim. So we're just going to download it now. We're going to go to Scene Properties. We're going to go back to Project Library. We're going to click on this folder again, and we are going to navigate to where we have it downloaded. So I've got it here. It's the IFC4AU library. So we select that library file and we go to Type Product and we go to IFC Furniture Type. And I'm just going to bring this down so that you can see more of it. And what we want to do is we want to load this toilet, that basin. This is probably a bidet, but I'm going to turn it into a toilet, and then this large bath. So a large basin, a large bath, and a toilet. So if we scroll down, I'm going to go for a generic toilet without a cistern, even though it's slightly different. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to go for a large basin and a large bathtub. So we're going to go here and we're going to click on IFC Furniture Type, off the bunny and onto the generic toilet. And we're going to say Shift A, and there's our toilet. And we also want one here, Shift A, say rotate Z 90. And then if you want to see what this looks like when it's printed, we can go into Object Properties, collapse everything we don't need, go to IFC Geometry, Representations, and turn on the Curve 2D, and there you can see it, and it doesn't look so bad. And then we want to put in the basin, so we're going to say add rotate Z 90, and then the same thing, we can click 2D, and then we want the bath, so we go select the bathtub, we say add, let's turn on the 2D, and then we'll just say rotate Z 90. We're going to say GX and GY, so it snaps there. Okay, cool. So now we have two toilets, a basin, and a bathtub. I don't have a car at the moment, but I do have a table in that list. So let's go back to our Scene Properties. And then I think I'm going to look for a large seater table, make this a bit bigger. So let's see, an 8-seater rectangular table looks good, rectangular table. And then we're just going to select it here. And I'm just going to say Shift A, and I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. And then again, we can just look at the 2D representation, which is very similar, but it's good. Okay, cool. And then the next thing we want to do is these stairs. So you can actually see it a bit clearer on the first floor, or here, the 2F view. So there's 1, 2, 3 winder stairs, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 intermediary stairs, and 1, 2, 3 winders, and then the last is the step for the slab as well. So there's 13 steps altogether. And how I've worked it out is at a step height of 185. So it works out to 2405 millimeters for the height. So what we got to do is go into the 3D view, and we're going to change all the outside walls height to 2.4 meters. So we just go here to height and we say 2405, and we refresh that, and they've changed. And then we take the internals, and all of these become the same height minus 200 for the slab. So 2205, and there's the height. And then you can see this is a half height wall. So I'm just going to make it 1200, and then hopefully that is correct. Okay, cool. And then we can go back, and I can press Naught to go back into the view. And I'm going to go to Tool, and I'm going to go to IFC Slab Type. I'm going to choose the 150 slab, and we're just going to go here in this corner, and I'm going to say Add. And because it's a 1 by 1 meter, I don't really have to edit anything for the first step, but I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to say GZ. Remember, 185 is the step height. I'm going to say Shift E to edit it. Press 1 so I can select vertices, and then grab that corner one and say GX so I can snap it there, and say Shift Q, and there's our first step. We can add the next one, GZ 370. Oops, not that much, which is 185 times 2, and then we say Shift E, and we can get rid of this guy. We can say XV, and then it seems to have broken it, but we can select both of those and press F, and then we can select one again to select this vertices and bring it down so it's again a half height step roughly, and we say Shift Q, and then we have a winder. And then the next thing we want to do is do these intermediary steps. So I'm going to snap to there, and I'm going to say go to select the normal selection box and say Shift A, Mesh, Cube, and we're going to call this stairs. And then what you want to do is go here to Object Properties, Object Metadata. In the IFC class, we're going to say Element, and we're going to make the class a stair flight. And we're going to make that straight. And we're going to assign that class, and now it has all the correct BIM information. And now we can use a modifier. If we go to Modifier Properties, we can click on the IFC Stair modifier. We say Add Stair, and you can see it's been added to us. The first thing we're going to do is rotate it so that it is in the right direction, -90. And then I'm just going to say GY, so it snaps to the edge there. And then we're going to go into 3D, and I'm going to adjust this. So I'm going to come here into 3D, and I'm going to hide this wall and this window, press H, and then you can see there's a few things we need to change. So I'm just going to adjust it there so we can see it properly, and then we're going to click here on the Enable Editing Stair. So these are details that I already know, but I'm going to explain them. So for the width, we know it's 900. For the height, it's going to be 1110, which is a multiple of the 185 height. The number of treads, we're going to make 5 because we want our number of rises to be 6. The tread depth, we're going to make 150. So you can see it's that depth there. And then the tread run, I'm going to make 250, which is a national minimum in South Africa. And then for your base slab depth, I'm going to make this 350. It doesn't actually matter to me. And then the top slab depth, I'm going to make the same height as my riser, so 185, just so that there's no extra geometry at the end there. And then we're going to take this guy and we're going to say GZ and snap him to the top of that one. And we're going to select all 3 of these because that first step still needs to be accounted for. And we say GZ 185. So now we have 3 steps and we have these central steps. And then we just need the winders on the end. So we can select these 3, and the geometry is not going to really make a lot of sense, but in plan it will. And we're going to say Shift D, Z, and bring it to this outside height. And we're going to say rotate Z that way, which is 90. Oh, it's -90. And we're going to say GY, and we're going to bring it to that there. And then we're going to say GZ -185. And then it should line up fairly well. I think in reality this is a very small door, and obviously you can walk under these steps, but just for how we've done it, it's not so neat, but in the drawing it works out. So there's our steps, and then the last thing you need to do for these stairs is you need to go and say Finish Editing. You need to come to your Object Data Properties, and you need to say Update Representation. Otherwise it will display as a cube when you cut it in plan. So we can just unhide that, and I think we can check it out in plan. So we can go to BIM Documentation, we can say Activate View, and then we can say maybe just 1 to 100 is fine. Yeah, that's looking pretty good all around. I think everything is swinging in the direction I want it, and then there's just a bit of overlap here. So let me just move this guy slightly. GY and GX, and then press Activate and Create Drawing, and that looks good. Okay, cool. I'm quite happy with that. It's very straightforward, and the next thing we're going to do is create another floor, basically. So I'm going to show a different method to what I used in the other video. This is maybe probably a bit faster. So I'm going to take the empty from this floor, and I'm going to say Shift D, Z, and I'm going to snap it to the top of the wall here so that it's at the correct height. And then you can see it's created its own floor already. So I'm going to relabel this to first floor. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to create an IFC slab underneath the ground floor. So we're going to press Naught, and I'm going to snap my 3D cursor to the bottom left corner. We're going to say Tool. We're going to make sure we're in the BIM tool, IFC slab. We're going to say Add. I'm going to say Shift E, And then we're just going to make a rectangle basically. So press 2 to select the edges and then snap them to their appropriate spaces, and then Shift Q, and then we have a floor. Okay, cool. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to select everything that is in the ground floor, and then we're going to go to Object Properties. We're going to collapse everything we don't need. We're going to go to IFC Spatial Container. We're going to say Enable Editing Container, and then we're going to go into Site, My Building, and then we're going to tick the floor we want everything to be copied to, and then we're going to click this thing that says Copy to Container. So if we click that, then we have a first floor that has all the same elements as the one below it. So yeah, that's quite cool, and we don't have to redo it, basically. So then what we want to do is we want to take this reference image, and we're just going to say Shift D Z, and we're going to bring it to the same level as the ground floor there. And then we're just going to hide the slab, and we're also going to hide the ground floor, otherwise we might end up editing it accidentally. And then we are going to say, we're going to go to BIM documentation, and we're going to say plan, and we're going to say first floor, and we're going to say plus. We're going to go into it by activating the drawing, select it, come down to Object Data Properties, change this to 10, unclick temporarily disable your snaps, and then just center it as best you can. Turn your snaps back on, and then we can start editing our first floor plan. So we can select this reference image, and then we just say GX, and bring it across so it roughly lines up, looks like -6,100. And then you can see things are a bit different. So what you want to do, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete things that I don't think are applicable for this floor. So I can see I don't need this door, I don't need this door, and I don't need that door, and this door, and that door. I don't even need this wall. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take this one and bring it up to there. So that's about 2,450, I think. 2,450. And then take this guy and snap him to there, Shift E. I'm going to cut this guy in line with this floor, Shift K, and then delete this extra wall. These two I'm going to snap together, Shift T, and then him I can say Shift E there, and then I'm going to cut it where the walls are showing. So Shift K, and over there, Shift K. And then I'm going to delete this inner wall. I'm going to take this door and I'm just going to move it, GY, and say Shift G, so that it's in a different position. And then this guy, I think, can come here, so we say Shift E. And then here I'm just going to cut this guy, Shift K, and I don't need this door anymore. And I'm going to cut this guy as well, Shift K. Okay, looking pretty good. I don't need this toilet on this floor, XD. And then I think there's no other internal walls here, so I'm just going to select these two and say XD, and select the bath and the toilet and the basin and say XD. Okay, cool. It looks like I just need to cut this over here, Shift K, and then in line with that step as well, Shift K, and then I'm going to delete this inner wall, XD. So now we just have the bare bones of this whole thing. And then it looks like I do actually need this toilet, but I'm just going to finish off this, Shift T to join those together. And yeah, I'm going to get rid of this wall, XD, and make it Shift E, just one continuous wall, and move this window, GX, to there, Shift G. We don't need so many, so I'm just going to get rid of these windows. And I'm going to butt these two together, Shift T, and then I'm just going to add some windows, tool, window, add, oh, Control Z, sorry. Just going to make sure to select the wall, Shift A to add the window, GY, Shift G, Shift A, GY, Shift T, Shift G, sorry. Then we just need a door here to get into the balcony. So we go to door type, Shift A, GY, GY, Shift G, and then Shift F to flip it out. And then I think a door as well to get into our little cupboard here. GY, Shift F, Shift G, sorry. Shift F because it should swing outside. Okay, cool. And then we just need, oh, we do actually need a toilet, and we just need some kitchen. We need a stovetop and a sink. So we can just go back here to scene properties, and then in this library, we can look for a large sink, I think. Here's a medium sink, oh, there's a large sink. And then we can look for a cooktop. Let's have a look. Oh, the smallest cooktop will do. And also a large kitchen bench, I think works well for me over there. Yes, okay. And then I'll also load the medium kitchen bench because I want to edit them. So I think let's start by adding that toilet. We go to IFC furniture type. Let's go to our toilet without a cistern and say add. Just say GZ so it's visible. And then we want to go here and we're going to add the large kitchen bench over here. So Shift A and GZ, and we just say GX. And all we need to do, I'm just gonna move this window so it's a little bit out the way. Shift G. We need to click on that, and we're gonna need to go to our object properties, IFC geometry, and click on the 2D view. We just say GZ so it's visible, and then we say Shift. We just say Tab to go into edit mode. 2 to select an edge, and then we can bring it across, and we say Tab, and then we have a very simple kitchen counter basically. And then we can go for the medium kitchen bench, and I'm going to add that as well. I'm going to say GZ. I'm going to go into 2D, GZ so it's visible. I'm going to say GY and snap it against that, and then say Tab so I can edit it. Press 2 and then bring this in by, I think 300 works for me, and then that can go out by 300, well, to that point. And we say Tab, and then all we need is the stovetop. So if we go here, cooktop, you say add, GZ, get the 2D in there, GZ, GY 50, just to offset it there, and then GX and just line it up roughly with where that is. And then the same thing for the sink. Where is it? Large sink, add it, let's get the 2D, GZ, let's rotate it Z in 180, and then say GY and line it up with the stove, and GX to line it up with that sink. Okay, cool. I think that is the first floor. So we just go to BIM documentation, we click on activate view, and we say create drawing. And then we can just see that our slab needs to be edited. So we can have a hole, an opening for, or just the shape of the slab can be edited around the shape of the staircase, and also for that edge over there. So I'm just going to turn the slab back on, and then I'm going to say Shift E, and we're just say Control R to add a point. I'm going to snap it there, Control R, adding a point, and then press 1, click out, select that point, and then just adjust it to where it needs to be. Control R to add a point, snap it to there. Control R, snap it to the inside of that staircase there. Control R, bring that through, and Control R, bring that through, and create our opening. And then we say Shift Q to save it, and then you can see the new shape. So if we click Activate View and we click Create Drawing, then we can actually see the winding of the stairs underneath as well. So there's our first floor or second floor, depending on how you count. And we can just head back to Blender and start our next floor again. So same story, we can go and click on the empty for the story. We say Shift D, Z, and then just snap it to the top. And you can see it's already made an additional level. And I can see here I've left some items in the wrong floor. So I'm just gonna put them in the correct space. And then I'm gonna relabel this copy to second floor so that it's there. And then we're going to select everything in the first floor, and we're going to go to object properties. We're going to go to object metadata, spatial container, edit, my site, my building. We're going to select second floor, and then we're going to say copy to container. And then we can see we have a bit of an error here, but it should be fine. Let's just exit those. And then we can go and we can say plan, second floor, add that, and then activate it. And then we just edit the same way we've done the others. So we click object data, change the scale to 10, turn off your snaps temporarily, and just try and center it. That looks good. And then just make sure you hide the previous layer so we don't accidentally edit it. And then we can go in 3D, and we can select this guy, and we say Shift D, Z, so we can remember to turn on your snaps again. So GZ, snap him to the floor level, and then in naught, you can hide the slab, select your reference, and just say GX to slide him over. And then you can see we have a few more walls, and it's slightly skewed, but it's fine. We know the actual dimensions. So then we're just going to start adjusting. Okay, cool. I'm just going to delete this guy. I'm going to bring this wall down here in line with that staircase. I'm going to bring this wall down here. Let's see what works out. -3600. And I'm going to snap it to the end there, Shift E. I'm going to bring this wall down, GY, to there. And say Shift E. I'm going to bring that wall to there, Shift E. I'm going to butt these two walls together, Shift T. And then this wall I'm going to bring all the way to there, Shift E. And this one I'm going to bring in, Shift E. And then I think we have two doors overlapping here. So I'm going to say GY, GY, Shift G, and Shift F. So it's opening out. And also this one, Shift F. Okay, cool. And then I think I just want to move this door GY over there and say Shift G. And then I'm just going to go into 3D so I can have a look at this quickly. And yes, we don't need another floor. We don't need another level of stairs. So I'm just going to delete not my camera, which I'm just going to hide temporarily. I'm just going to delete these extra stairs. So selecting and then XD, and then I'm also going to delete this wall, which I should probably delete from the floor below as well. And then we're going to go back to naught, and then we can see the wall position has changed. So we have GY, we say -600, and then these guys are touching, Shift E. Okay, cool. So we have a door here. Tool, go to our door type. Not door type 1, but our 800, Shift A. We say GX to bring it there, Shift G and Shift F, so it swings into the room. Shift A, GY, or GY and Shift G, Shift A, GX, Shift G, and then I think that is all of our doors. And let's get our windows back to where they were. We're going to go to our window type, and we're going to say Shift A, and we're going to go here, and we're going to say add, and we've got a window there. We press 3 on the numpad and press 9. It'll swap around our position. So if we activate our floor below, we can check where our windows were and line them up. So I'm just going to say GY and Shift G. And take this one and say GY and Shift G. Okay, and then we can hide our floor below so we don't accidentally edit it. Press 0 to snap back into our drawing position. So I'm just going to take these guys and move them down a little bit. GY, and use Shift G and Shift G. Okay, cool. So we can go back to our scene properties, and then in this library, we can scroll down to the bottom, and I'm just going to use a queen bed for everything, I think. So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to say IFC furniture type, and we're going to go to queen bed, and we're just going to say add, and then I'm going to go to object properties. We are going to go to IFC geometry representations. I'm going to turn on the curve 2D, and then you can see the orientation. So I'm just going to rotate this in this direction, 90. Say GX, GY, GX. Just makes sense to me. Shift D, Y, down there, and Shift D, Y. And maybe rotate this guy in that direction, 90, GY, GX, GY. Okay, cool. And then we can just quickly check. We go to BIM documentation. I don't think there's anything left here to do. And then we can just say activate view, and we can say create drawing. And there we go. Okay, cool. If we go into 3D, one last thing we need to do is probably to create another floor for the roof. So we can select this, and we can say Shift D Z, snap it to the correct height. And we can close that and rename this guy roof. And then what we can do is we can just grab the slab and go into its object metadata, spatial container, site, building, click roof, say copy, and then we can say Shift E to snap it. We can click 7 so to see it from above. And then we have these points, and we can just select some of these vertices and delete them. And we say X, V. So we can just bring this guy in, GY. And then select both of these and press F to connect them. And press 1 here and adjust this guy on the inside. And adjust this guy on the inside. Press XV, press 2 because I want to get rid of the roof over the balcony here. Press 1, snap it there, press F, make sure it's a complete circuit, and then say Shift Q, and then we have our roof. And then the last thing is these two walls on the outside. So if we just make these visible in 3D and we get rid of these guys, just hide them, press H. We can select these outside balcony walls, and we can make their heights 900. Shift E, Shift Q. Oh, there we go. Okay. And there is our 3-story building. And we can go and have a look at our plans. So if we just get our latest plans of each, second floor, there we go. So here's our ground floor plan, here's our first floor plan, and here's our second floor plan. All right, thanks for watching. If you found that interesting or useful, you can check out more at the OSArch community page. This was made using Blender, the BlenderBim add-on, which is powered by the IFC OpenShell, and the community that we're involved in is the OSArch community. I will provide links in the description, and you can check other videos to follow along. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.